Time to make some granola. You're gonna love this recipe. It's a little hot. I think this is gonna be a good batch. First step is to preheat the oven to 300 degrees. While that's going on, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some nuts, half a cup of pecans, half a cup of almonds, into the food processor. Click ready to blast off. Okay, quick quality control check. The nuts are looking good. I like to make them where it's almost like a gravel. Now you can stick the nuts in a bowl or on a plate, or just leave them in the food process for now. Next step, take 1 cup of oats. Okay, a little bit of a mess there. All right, perfect. Take 1 cup of oats, put them right into this Pyrex pan right here, okay? Spread it out a little bit. You can shake it up a little bit. Now I'm gonna take this, stick it in the oven, and I'm just gonna bake it for 8 minutes. It's gonna bring out the flavor of the oats. Take some maple syrup. We're gonna make the flavoring for these oats, because the whole thing about granola, this is really just a flavor holder when you get right down to it. The oats, they don't have a lot going on. So, 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. Now, you could actually make this with honey. Some people get freaked out if you heat honey. So I'm gonna make it with maple syrup. So just 1, 2, 3. A little bit more because there seems to be some stuff stuck on the bottom there. So just a little bit more. This is the loose and spicy oats recipe. This one I'm putting a little cayenne pepper. So if you're serving this to people that are under, you pick an age. But I would just put like 3 shakes of this. But then again, if it's for kids or whatever, they might not like this too much. So just about 1, well that was barely 1. So 1, okay there, it's not 1, 2, 3. Put a half of a tablespoon of nutmeg. Okay. One of my favorite ingredients, cinnamon. I don't know why I like cinnamon so much. Put a 1/2 tablespoon of cinnamon. And I level that up to the top like that. 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. I used to put 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, but after talking to some people, they were just saying, well, maybe that's too much. And it really made no difference, actually, in the whole recipe. So I tested it I felt like 100 iterations of this. I tested it on coworkers, so that was kind of a good or bad thing, depending if you like granola. Now I'm gonna add some salt. The salt is really the key to this. You could actually skip the cayenne pepper and the nutmeg, but having the salt and the sweet really make a big difference. I used to put a 1/2 teaspoon in salt. Now I kind of recommend either 1/8 or a 1/4 teaspoon. If you're wondering like, well, what should I do? Use your gut feeling on this, okay? Trust your, trust your gut, as they say. Unless, of course, you have colitis or a moderate to severe urinary tract infection, or even, food poisoning. Now I'm gonna stir this up. Okay, so I'm gonna stir this delicious mixture up. I like this part, actually. I like every part. And what do you know? Here again, matches my shirt color. Take the granola out of the oven. It's been in there for about 8 minutes. And now what we're gonna do here, this is a kind of an important step right here. This actually is, well, it's hot. I don't recommend touching it. You're gonna mix this in like this. When you're scraping this out, that you really scrape out the bottom there, because what tends to happen, I've found, especially with maple syrup, not so much with honey, because honey's thicker, higher viscosity, I believe. But this, you're gonna really wanna scrape everything out, scrape the bottom of this, because that's where all the salt and everything, all the spices kind of hang out. Speaking about food poisoning, the one thing you never wanna do is talk about food poisoning if you're doing a cooking show, making food for people, having some relatives over, or whatever, or even if you own, you open a restaurant, food poisoning is probably not the thing you wanna do. So it's gonna take a moment for me to really mix this in here. If you opened a restaurant, you wouldn't want to say, here's your table, service here stinks. So we've got this great article on food poisoning. And then on the back of that is our sushi menu. Got a great pork sushi today. Reminds me when I was waiting tables and I really had to sell the food to the people. I was terrible at waiting tables. Maybe I'd recommend the otter ceviche, perhaps. Maybe that would fit your palatatory needs. He spends a lot of time in water. He's a very good swimmer. People ask a lot of questions. I'm on a health thing right now. Is the otter ceviche, is that fresh? I don't think it matters. What's it taste like? Tastes like weasel. That actually might be true. The pork sushi, it's to die for. 5 people dropped dead today at the local foodie restaurant. Hope you're enjoying this delicious, wholesome recipe. Great for your neighbors, your nephews, anybody. And just once you get that, spread it all out in the pan so it's just nice and even like that. And now we're gonna take it, put it back in the oven for just 8 minutes. It already looks delicious. Don't forget to put the nuts in there, which is easy to do. And what you're gonna wanna do is make sure they're all covered also. Now that the granola has been roasting in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes, I may have said 8 minutes, really meant 10 minutes. Doesn't really matter that much. Now I'm gonna take it out, and this looks absolutely delicious. I'm gonna show you this right here. So, wow. Now, one kind of pro tip is what you're gonna do, you're gonna take this and you're gonna take this spatula and you're just gonna scrape off the bottom, scrape this like this, so this all loosens up. And if you forget to do this, it'll actually harden kind of on there. So just kind of scrape it all up like this, and you can move it around a bit. Oh, it's a little hot. So just, yeah, you get the idea. This granola is really good. Got some other good recipes coming up as well. I'm gonna take a little of this granola, I'm gonna put it right here. Put it kind of tempting, I don't know where this, right near. And then you can grab a little bit right around here and then also push the subscribe button at the same time. I kind of use the petting zoo subscribe technique. You're gonna really love it. And you saw what was in this recipe as well. Grab life by the granola.